Most dog owners believe they're the ones in charge. After all, you hold the leash, you buy the food, you decide when it's time for a walk. But canine behavior researchers have discovered something surprising. Inside many homes, the dog may actually be the one quietly shaping the relationship, not through aggression, not through dominance, but through small psychological signals most people never notice. And before you panic, this doesn't mean your dog is trying to take control of your life. Dogs aren't secretly plotting to rule the household. In most cases, these behaviors develop simply because dogs are incredibly good at reading human reactions. They watch us carefully. They learn what gets our attention, what gets a response, and what works. Over time, those tiny interactions slowly shape the routine between dog and human, without either of you even realizing it. Today we're going to explore 5 behaviors that may reveal something fascinating about how your dog interprets leadership inside the home. And pay close attention to sign number 4, because it's something millions of dog owners interpret as affection, when in reality, it can mean something very different. Let's start with something behaviorists sometimes call demand behavior. Imagine this scene. It's early evening, you're sitting on the couch, maybe scrolling through your phone. Suddenly, your dog walks over, drops a toy directly into your lap, and stares. Not barking, not whining, just watching you. Most owners respond within a few seconds. They throw the toy, they laugh, they play, and it feels like a completely harmless moment. But from the dog's perspective, something very important just happened. They performed an action, and the human responded exactly the way they hoped. Dogs are extremely good at recognizing patterns like this, so the next day, they try it again. And if it works again, the behavior becomes stronger. Animal behavior researchers have observed that dogs quickly learn which signals reliably trigger a human reaction. Over time, those signals can become a kind of communication shortcut. Instead of waiting for the owner to initiate play, the dog begins initiating the interaction themselves. Now, this isn't necessarily a problem. In fact, it can be part of a healthy relationship. But when every interaction starts with the dog demanding something, the balance of the relationship slowly shifts. Because in social animal groups, the individual who consistently initiates interactions often ends up controlling the pace of the group. Again, this doesn't mean your dog believes they're in charge in a human sense. Dogs don't think in those political terms. What they do understand is cause and effect. If a behavior works, they repeat it. If it doesn't, they abandon it. And over time, the behaviors that work best become part of the daily routine between you. That's why some dogs develop very specific rituals. A certain bark that means dinner time, a specific stare that means they want to go outside, or a toy drop that means it's time to play. In other words, your dog may not be consciously directing the household, but they might be very good at influencing it. And that brings us to the second behavior many owners overlook because it often happens in one of the most ordinary moments of the day, right when you reach for the front door. You might notice your dog suddenly appears, standing close by, eyes fixed on you. Some dogs will even block your path or nudge gently against your leg. It's subtle, almost playful, but it's another form of influence. Behaviorists call this attention-getting or barrier behavior. The dog has learned that by positioning themselves strategically, they can delay an action, redirect your focus, or even gain a reward. It's not rebellion, it's clever timing. The moment you pause, maybe scratch their ears or speak to them, the dog has achieved exactly what they wanted. And just like with the toy drop, this pattern strengthens over time. Next is a behavior that often gets mistaken for pure affection, the puppy dog eyes, or what scientists call the pediomorphic gaze. Dogs evolved facial muscles specifically to make their eyes look larger and more infant-like. When they lock eyes with you in that way, your brain releases oxytocin, the bonding chemical, making you more likely to respond favorably. It's biological, instinctive, and the dog knows it works. Finally, we get to the behavior you might not expect, selective obedience. Your dog listens perfectly when it benefits them, but ignores commands when it doesn't. It's not defiance in the human sense, it's calculated learning. Through trial and error, they discover which signals elicit a reward and which do not, and gradually the dog shapes interactions to maximize their comfort, attention, or playtime. By the end of the day, these small actions add up. Your dog may not be running the household with intentions or agendas, but they have mastered a subtle, everyday influence that most humans never notice. And understanding these behaviors isn't about asserting dominance, it's about building a cooperative, balanced relationship where both you and your dog thrive.